When inmates are released from Oklahoma's correctional system, they may have paid their debt to society, but they often remain a prisoner of crushing financial debt. I spoke with Oklahoma Watch reporters Scott Carter and Clifton Adcock about the costs imposed on inmates and what it means for those who run afoul of the law. Scott, everyone understands that people convicted of crimes will head off to jail or head off to prison, but in your series, Prisoners of Debt, you get into the fines and fees that they also have to pay.
Yeah, Dick, Cliff and I, we worked on this story for several months, and we discovered that the financial cost that a lot of inmates, and we focused on nonviolent inmates, that they face is almost insurmountable. Matter of fact, in some instances, the costs were so high, the inmates were tempted to return, or even in a few cases did return back to criminal activity to pay those costs.
And Clifton, a lot of these people are incarcerated because of drug offenses.
That's right. A lot of them faced drug fines and fees, which actually tax on more than other cases that aren't related to drugs or that aren't related to drugs.
Right. They have to pay various drug testing fees and additional charges. And if you can't pay, then what happens?
In many cases, in most counties, you can go back to jail.
And it's hard for people that have been incarcerated, Clifton, to find work.
That's right. Once you have a felony conviction on your record, a lot of times you have a hard time finding a job in order to pay the fines and fees that you owe as a result of that felony conviction.
And these fines and fees have been increasing over the last several years.
Since 1990, when the state passed that constitutional amendment that changed the way the legislature could do tax increases.
640.
640. They've jumped by huge amounts from that time on.
Clifton, counties also assess per diem charges.
That's right. You actually have to pay, in a lot of cases, to spend time in jail prior to conviction. So while you're sitting in jail, you might get charged around $40, $42 per day for being in jail awaiting trial.
People in jail also have some other fees that are charged, including for phone calls.
They're charged for phone calls. They're charged if family members want to put money on their account. The family member is charged. The inmate is charged transaction charges. There's also some health care charges assessed. In Tulsa, they charge a fee, copay for health care and a payment per piece of medicine issued.
I suppose a lot of people would probably say that's just the cost that you pay for breaking the law. Is the legislature looking at this, and how do they feel about it?
They actually are. There is a bill in the legislature right now introduced by Speaker Jeff Hickman that is called the Court Cost and Fines Reform Bill. It's currently a shell bill, so there's not any real substantial language in it, but that might change as the session goes on.
All right, and you'll be watching that. Clifton Adcock, Scott Carter of Oklahoma Watch, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.